Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Have a Talks with Anthony. Today we're going to have a insightful conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health the conversation, the content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being. However, today's conversation, we're going to be talking about how to handle criticism, turning feedback into growth. So I really want to take in consideration that responding constructively to criticism, we're framing it as an opportunity for self-improvement and using it as fuel for our personal in addition to our professional growth, right? So we always can improve, we can always get better, but we got to take in consideration, be accountable, and really recognize that criticism sometimes it hurts, it's not really what we want to hear, but it's still able to help us improve. So we got to take the bad with the good and the good with the bad. So stick with me, grow with me, we're going to get through this together. So off rip in our introduction, we're going to be talking about the challenge of receiving, criticism. Like I said, sometimes criticism can be difficult. It's something that we all face, whether it's from your boss, your friend, you feel me, or even a stranger, you don't even know, right? So whether, it's something, like I said, it's uncomfortable for you, or you're able to be settled, you're able to take criticism. We're all able to, like I said, grow through this. We all go through this too. And overall, it's a powerful tool for that growth. So, we all, can say that it's hard for us to handle sometimes. It's a natural for us to feel, defensive or even just, be upset off rip. Like, who are you talking to? Like, I don't even know you. Like, who are you to tell me about my improvement? Who are you to I mean, and, that's just the mindset we maybe have. But at the same time, too, feedback can also be able to provide us, to become more of a springboard for, that personal development, letting us know we're able to, like I said, bounce back, still improve, and still recognize, our flaws. So, like I said, we're still going to be able to navigate through criticism as we navigate through our lives. So stick with me in regards to our first segment. We're going to be talking about why criticism can be so hard to take on. So first key point, emotional reaction, right? So criticism often triggers a fight or flight response because it feels like a personal attack. Like I said, who are you talking to? Like, why are you talking to me like this? I don't even know who you I mean, like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? In addition to it's a, hit out our ego and our self-worth. So our egos can become, intertwined with our work, right, and our actions as well. So negative feedback makes us feel, and reflect on our value. Like, what I mean? For some of us out here, we do the best that we can. You know what I mean? We try, we put the effort, at least we did the job, you feel me? But who is someone going to tell us to do how to, Like, it's always something, you feel me? But at the end of the day, it takes a hit out our ego, our self-worth, getting rejection, having someone talk bad about us can make you feel less than or feel down. We understand that. In addition to, fear of judgment, we may, worry about criticism that can lead to rejection or even damage our reputation. Sometimes, getting a bad score, getting a bad outcome, getting, just overall criticism in regards to, our attributes in regards to what we did or what we do can make us feel some type of way, right? So these all overall affect, our well-being, our mind, or how we're able to even perform. But at the same time, too, let's dive into what research insights say. So studies show and studies suggest that people tend to focus more on negative feedback than positive, which makes it harder to process and learn from them, right? So negativity bias can leave us stuck in a defensive thinking, right? So when we're stuck being defensive, when we're stuck not being accountable, when we're stuck always pointing the fingers over there, and we're not really looking at ourselves and really reflecting what's going on and taking the feedback and really, doing that self-evaluation with it, we're going to be taught from the floor up. So I really want to take in consideration, kind of being more open-minded, being more optimistic towards that growth, and really kind of reframing and changing our mindset to a positive one, right? So at the end of the day, we all go through this, but we also, like I said, improve when we have more of that self-awareness. So our next segment, we're going to be talking about reframing criticism as a tool for growth. Like I said, we're switching it to a positive mindset. So first key point, we're going to be talking about shift perspective, right? So instead of viewing criticism as a personal attack, see it as data, see it as information, see it as tangible information for us to be able to use this information to help you improve. Next, we're going to be talking about growth mindset, right? So embrace the belief that the skill and abilities can be able to develop with effort over time, right? Leading you to be able to learn, process, evaluate, right? And that criticism is a tool for you to develop. So like I said, with the growth mindset, we're able to take something from nothing to something from bad to good, right? And really be able to do that reflective work through the process with a positive mindset. Next is going to be able to be, separate the message from the messenger, right? So don't look at the person and beat up the person. Really look at the message and really evaluate the message. What's really going on? Focus on the feedback, not how the person delivered it, or who's delivering it, right? So regardless if it's a man or a woman talking to you, regardless if it's a kid or an older person talking to you, regardless, it doesn't even matter. Just look at the message, look at the voice, look at, what's really going on in regards to the feedback, and figure out ways where we're able to really look at this, internalize it, process it, and improve, right? So I really want to get into consideration, because like I said, we really want to be able to think before we respond, and not put us in a situation where we're, just reacting and just being impulsive. Really, just like I said, take it easy, be calm, and just, evaluate. Next segment, we're going to be able to talk about how to respond constructively to criticism. Before I even dive into it, like I said, treat people the way that you want to be respected, respect people, you know what I mean? And then you'll get that back off rip before we even dive into the key points. All right, let's dive into the key points, right? So really want to be able to pause before reacting, right? So take a moment to breathe and process the feedback, rather than just immediately just be able to, be defensive, or just deflect in regards to yourself, and even just getting upset, right? So just pause before you just pop off. You heard? So just really think before you respond. Next is really going to be ask clarifying questions if necessary, right? So if you don't understand something, don't just sit through it and just be passive and just suppress those emotions. Really ask what's going on. Where this is coming from? You know what I mean? Get more clarity, right? So to better understand the feedback, ask questions like, can you give me more of an example of what you mean? Or what is one specific thing I can do to improve? Like really ask them ways you're able to improve and navigate to where you want it to be, right? Next is going to be thank the critique, right? So, look at the information as a way to, like I said, you're able to, have that self-growth, right? So even if feedback is tough to hear, thank the person that's telling you, that's providing you the time to be able to, encounter that offering of that information, right? This will be able to shift your mindset from a defensive one to more openness, and people are going to be able to see that you're able to be, he could take the information, he's able to grow, he's able to, or you know what I mean? Like they're able to really hear me out, like, you know what I mean? And you wouldn't be surprised, but if people are able to see that you're able to be willing to be able to handle these difficult situations and circumstances, you may be even offered a promotion. You may be even, you know what I mean? Like things could be beneficial for you down the line, because you're able to be a leader. You're able to really show people that you can really take on and be resilient and just take feedback, improve, and really model what, productivity looks like, right? At the end of the day, like I said, sometimes these things happen, but we're still able to move right through them. Next is going to be seek solutions, right? So focus on the how, right? So how can we improve, in regards to that growth? So how can you use the criticism in regards to growth, change, or like I said, improve, right? So seek solutions, right? So overall, like I said, these different, techniques in regards to how to respond constructively towards criticism is going to really be able to help you navigate and have that resilience as this difficult emotions rush through your body. You feel me? So next segment, we're going to be able to talk about the role of self-compassion in handling criticism. Like I said, you got to be kind to yourself. First point is going to be kind to yourself, really. So understanding that nobody's perfect off rip. And receiving criticism doesn't mean that you're a failure. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean you bogus. You know what I mean? You a bum. You feel me? It just means that this is something that you're able to take on, look at the information, and just grow, right? Next key point, we're going to be able to talk about acknowledge your emotions. It's okay to feel upset. It's okay to feel what you're feeling, right? But don't lose sight of those feelings, right? Like I said, if possible, write those things down, really express those, get those things out, and allow yourself to process what's going on by acknowledging your emotions, right? You got to put yourself first, love yourself, be kind to yourself, and make the proper applications in a productive, healthy way. Next is going to be develop that resilience, right? So with practice, with consistency, with being intentional and being compassionate to yourself, you're going to be able to develop the ability to handle criticism with grace and with that, strength over time, right? As you're consistent. So each piece of that feedback is an opportunity for you to build that resilience to be able to improve. So regardless of what challenges are being thrown at you, regardless of what someone's telling you, regardless of what's going on, you're still going to be able to take it on. Okay, look at it, and sometimes you look at it, someone's criticism, and be like, this is some nonsense, whatever, but you'll understand as you'll navigate through. But at the end of the day is look at the criticism and look at it as ways to improve. You feel me? At the end of the day, right? That's what we're trying to do, improve. Next segment we're going to be able to dive right into is going to be turning criticism into action. Really going to be able to develop some practical strategies for that growth. So really utilize these, strategies to be able to improve your personal development. First key point off rip, we're going to be able to identify those patterns, right? So after receiving multiple, pieces of feedback. You really want to be able to look at those as themes or issues, and really be able to help yourself focus on improving them by identifying those patterns. Next is going to be able to be create an action plan, right? So make it simple, and make it doable, and work towards that action plan. So break things down in regards to that criticism into actionable steps. For example, if feedback is about communication skills, right? So set goals in regards to practicing active listening, or, clarity in regards to your messages, so this is going to be able to help you really get to the root of these issues and really resolve them with improvement. Next is going to be able to be track progress, right? So keep track of, your application in regards to your feedback. And these improvements will help you, notice them over time as you're making that application, you're writing these things down, and you're reinforcing your growth that motivates you to continue as you're really doing the work. You feel me? Next is going to be use feedback for long-term growth, right? So regular feedback. You don't want to really be able to just wait for things to just come to you. You really want to be proactive. You really want to be able to refine your skills, chisel you to be the best person that you could be inside that mental health, inside and outside. So improving your performance. Look at this as a long-term thing for your growth. And this is really going to be helping you improve as you navigate through your life. So I really want us to pull this video together in regards to, we all take criticism, we all, have flaws, we all have areas we're able to improve. You know what I mean? A catalyst for self-improvement is criticism, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, there's many failures in order for people to get to that success. So at the end of the day, it's always gonna be a hater. When you have the success, it's always gonna be, haters when you're down, you're out, you're feeling. It's always gonna be someone that's gonna be critiquing and telling you this and telling you that. At the end of the day, hear the information, hear them out, because those voices could be voices of blessings too. But it's the way that your perception is seeing it as. And at the end of the day, just take the information so you're able to use that as a way to develop your resilience with that improvement, right? So criticism is not always going to make you feel, comfortable. We got to feel uncomfortable sometimes to become comfortable, right? So use this as the right approach to be able to develop this as a powerful tool for that self-improvement. And by taking feedback, once again, it's going to be able to help you ask those right questions, respond proactively, right, with a better growth mindset, which was going to be able to help you overall take the harshest critiques to be able to use it as a stepping stone towards your best self, right? So I'm asking you to really utilize criticism as a way to better yourself, and if possible, make those applications, and things will change for the greater good. If you found this video beneficial, give it a thumbs up, share if possible, comment if necessary, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.